Hey, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Karen, behind the scenes. Welcome, everyone. Welcome if you're new, especially. You are definitely in Medicine Buddha. Um, I like to think of this as like Medicine Buddha unplugged, like how MTV used to do unplugged in the 90s. Yeah, that was a good era in MTV. But anyhow, um, yeah, this is a very intimate practice, right? Very direct practice of Medicine Buddha, where we're kind of stepping from behind the text into the experience of the deity, which is a particular kind of practice that I like, just to experience the practice. So it's so wonderful to have you here. Welcome back to those of you who have been a part of the practice as well. And before I begin, I want to thank all of you who attended and signed into the herbalism workshops last week, yesterday and last Wednesday. They went really well. You made me look really good, and so I really appreciate that. And you can still see any of the workshops from the summer. You can get a copy of the workshops at svchai.org, which is the link that Eric just posted. You can see my workshops. The center's workshop isn't posted yet. It will be posted probably midweek. But the Hoodoo Bible workshop from Wednesday is up as well. And you can take a look at all the workshops our cohort has been working on. It's been really amazing. So if like you're really needing some support, herbal support, ritual, magic support, please look through some of those workshops. And they're taught by amazing people as well. So thank you so much. And of course, you can join us for um, our conference coming up in October as well. And you can do that online too. So you'll see all the information there on that site. But thank you. And this is like always part of an effort to include, as many healing modalities in the practice as well, including herbalism. So I'm really happy to be undergoing this. I'm deeply inspired by many of you in the community who are yourself herbalists as well. There's a lot of hidden herbalists, especially with the queers, honey. Queer people show up with all kinds of, they'll be like, yeah, I'm an herbalist, I'm a tarot reader, I'm a DJ, I'm a doula. It's all kinds of stuff. I'm like, I love it. Like we just work it out. We're just like, we're gonna get free. We're gonna like gather all our magic and we're gonna do the thing. And this is why it's so important right now to reclaim our magic. Like we have to remember our magic. I'm seeing so many people online who, yes, they're expressing a lot of hopelessness. And a lot of that hopelessness, really for me, it looks like one of the reasons of that hopelessness comes from like just the loss of magic. People feel so helpless. They feel like they don't have the practices, they don't have the beliefs. Like everything is very real, very carceral, as we always talk about. It's like the carcerality, of the phenomenal world, the realness, the hardness, the rigid, the limitations, right? It feels like phenomenal reality is like punishing us, policing us, when in fact that's an illusion. Now, I'm not saying we're not experiencing suffering because we are, but what I'm saying is that there's a deeper truth to that suffering. And a lot of people are losing contact with that deeper truth, or maybe they never had it to begin with. And that's also a big thing, right? But the loss of magic, right? And this is what the work I've been doing with herbalism has been really about, is the remembrance of my magic, right? That I have tools to shape this experience, to manipulate this experience, right? And this is why, my work and research in hoodoo, um, and also the movie Sinners as well. I'll be doing more on Sinners. I had to hold myself back yesterday You know, I had to contain myself a lot, because we only had an hour and a half, right? But I want to do more on that movie, in different ways. But like this research, like this remembering of my ancestral technologies, my ancestral intelligence, right? Is the remembrance that I come from people, and many of us do. We come from people who had tools, right, to meet the reality of domination, of oppression, you know, and we have to return back to that because the state has functioned to get us to doubt our magic, to doubt our capacities, to rely on it as this source of validation. But the state is never validating us, it's just depleting us, right? It's taking things away. It's perpetuating a sense of like forgetfulness, amnesia, you know, like to remember that I come from something. I don't, as a person who descends from Black and African enslaved people, like so much, I mean, growing up, so much of history or American history was this attempt to say, oh, poor Black people, you come from slavery, but that's all you were, right? That's all your people were enslaved, the property of other people. And that's a lie. Like, like my people were more than just enslaved. That's like the least of who they were. They were people of faith. They were powerful people. They were brilliant people. They were beautiful people, right? They were people who fought. They were people who held on, right? We continue to be people. We continue to hold on to the truth, right? At least some of us. But we continue to hold on to the truth and we continue to speak that truth. That's ancestral intelligence. That's ancestral magic technologies. The way you speak, right? I speak from the union or from the gathering of my ancestors. I am a representation of the love of all those who've come before me. I am here only because of that love. All of us are, even though some of us have a hard time with ancestors. Like you have ancestors who loved you into this world, who called you into being, who helps you to be here, right? Because you have work to do. We're in this life because we have work. Not, we're not on vacation. We're saying this ain't no fucking vacation, right? But we are working, right? And that's been so important for me, the work, right? And again, that work is remembrance. Like you have to reclaim so much of what has been stolen by the states, you know. And I know we're, particularly in the United States, it's like we're in this moment where it feels like we are just going backwards real fast, right? And in that, this is when you have to remember the ancestors. You have to remember, our ancestors at Stonewall, at Compton's. We have to remember all of the uprisings. You have to remember all the organizing, the movements that the ancestors initiated that got us this far. Like that work hasn't disappeared, but we've lost connection to the spirit of that work. Like it's time for Stonewall again, right? Um it's time for the underground to reemerge, right? It's time for the abolitionists to take their place as subvertive agents, like disrupting the state and the state violence, right? Like it's time for us to return to our spells and return to our potions, right? It's time for us to like, yeah, to get fierce, right? And then this is an important moment. This is an important time. We have to go through this. Like it's important that we start waking up, right? And remembering who we are and where we come from, right? But again, this is the apocalypse. This means that we're coming back into balance. So like there's a lot of positivity here, even though it feels really heavy, really overwhelming. Like this is what healing looks like. Like you have to go back into the underworld. We're in the underworld again. You know, you have to get to the roots of things. Like it's no longer about covering things over. Like, it's like, when you have water damage, on your ceiling, and I'm like, oh, let's just paint it. Let's just let's just paint that up and they'll just disappear. That's what we've been doing. Like we get it painted and like, okay, that looks good. We can just continue on, but no, there's no more painting, there's no more covering up. You have to let the shit fall apart, you know? And we have to start rebuilding. That means you have to get on top of that roof, take the roof off, rebuild that roof. There's a leak, as one of the gospel songs I love says, there's a leak in this old building, right? And what do we do if there's a leak? You plug it. You don't keep ignoring it. Let's plug it. Let's get it done. Let's get the work done. And this is what we're living through. And so we have to hold on. We hold on to community, we hold on to our beloveds, we hold on to the ancestors, we hold on to our beliefs, we hold on to the real reality of freedom, liberation. Like this is when it gets real. It's like this liberation work isn't just something that we worship or something that we've read in the book that we really like. It's something that we have to start embodying. That liberation begins right now with choosing freedom, with leaning into what it means to be open and aware to what it means to say yes to this moment, to be in this deep kind of like feeling of this moment, right? Like we have to feel this, right? Because in the feeling there's a real there's a real power in this moment that we can ignore. If we ignore, we're missing an opportunity to ride this moment, to really like awaken. Like this moment is, if you stay aware, this will actually get you to where you've always wanted to be in your practice. There is an ample amount of material, or as I like to say, is a whole bunch of mud to get those lotuses going. You know, like there's a whole lot of material now for us to start working with. If we don't work with it, we're missing an opportunity. Even though I know it's hard as hell, you know, the grief, the rage, the apathy that many of us are going through, the moments of hopelessness and the despair, is just the disbelief, like this utter disbelief. It feels like a dream, and it is a dream in a way, right? But it's a dream that we have to take seriously. Like you can't get out of the dream until you wake up to the dream. And you can't wake up to the dream until you say yes to the dream, until you start paying attention to the dream. The paying attention is how you start finding the cracks in all of this. And when you get to the crack, you can get into it, right? You can bust it open a little bit. The more you bust open the cracks, the more space you begin to fill. Right. So you don't feel so crowded and overwhelmed. Yes, you can struggle, but there's still the space, and that space is coming from this this data that you have, this experience that you have that like there's much more happening than this, right? There's much more happening than fascism, right? Yeah, it's coming, nice and heavy, right? But like that's not, it's like fascism is like in your face right now. And you're like, oh my God, you're freaking out, you're reacting. But how can you look around that to see what else is happening? Right. And that's just basic Dharma. I mean, I know that that sounds like a rebranding, but that's just like Dharma. It's like there's more happening than our senses allow us to experience. And that's why we have to develop a capacity of deeper awareness so that we can begin to intuit beyond the data of the senses, beyond what you just see, beyond what you like can feel or taste or hear. Like there's a whole other reality that's happening. And there's a lot of truth in that reality, right? So you have to balance all of this data together and say, yes, like it feels like everything's falling apart, but there's a deeper reality that's emerging as well, right? That's not so much about the collapse, but it's about the birth of something else, right? Like the new world is here. Like it's here. It's already here. It's like now, can you take advantage of it? Can you start shaping this in the way many of our ancestors shaped what they were given? Can you start shaping this new reality, this new world that's arrived? All right. And this is more than just like a motivational speech. I do give a lot of these, you know, but it's more than just motivation. I don't want to, I don't want to get fundamental and say, oh, this is the truth, even though I have a lot of conviction around this. Like I don't want to say believe me either, because I don't like that either. Like, I just don't want you just to believe me. I want you to trust your senses. I want you to trust Medicine Buddha and how Medicine Buddha and all the Buddhas open up these experiences and practice. I want you to trust that instead of me. Like, trust the practice. Don't trust me, trust the practice, right? And the same way I did. Like, I just started trusting the practice. I started paying attention, right? I started asking for more wisdom and more clarity, and that's what started to happen, you know. Medicine Buddha as a practice, as many of you know, like I've told the story a few times, Medicine Buddha began with having no other choice, at a moment where I needed a lot of healing, right? And Medicine Buddha was the antidote. And I was like, what in the hell is a meditation practice on what feels like a very imaginary figure? How is that going to help me when I actually need to go to the hospital? Right? Like, how is this going to help? But I said, you know what? Like, all these people have done it before me. Let me give it a try. Right? And that's how Medicine Buddha opened up as a practice for me, as a tool of real transformative healing, right? And this is what I offer you. And I want you to have the same experience. I want you to find your healing, your wisdom, your truth in this so that you can have this magic to help you be in the world right now, to help you face these day-to-day, things that are just kind of like happening. This onslaught, it feels like this onslaught, right? And you need something to help manage all these fucking astrological movements as well, because that's the other culprit. You know, this new Virgo moon I tell you what, like I'm like, man, like, can I get a break, like from all this work? But it's for a reason. The astrology is actually helping us if we can actually ride this energy and take care of ourselves at the same time, right? Um, this Virgo moon is no joke, right now, but it's so potent, right? It is so potent if we can just like lean into it and just really pray and ask for what we need, right? We're gonna get there. Like we are definitely gonna get there, but it's not gonna happen the way that we thought it was gonna happen. It's not going to be some grand revolution and like all of this stuff. It may be that some aliens come and kind of like help to get us free. That seems quite probable at this point. I'm like, some of these fucking aliens need to land somewhere and do something. I'm tired of talking about it. Where are you? Where are you at? Right. So anyhow, thank you everyone. Yeah, so let's get started. Let's move into our practice. Right. And we're going to continue in the same kind of theme. that we've been working with, this kind of mirroring practice, right? Um, I'm really interested again in how we awaken Medicine Buddha in our experience. You know, how do you awaken that? And I want to get back to the work around longing, which I know some of you love. You love the work around longing, and that's why I wanted to bring it back, because I want all of you to be happy. So, like the longing, right? Like we want so many things, we long for so many things, but in this practice, right, it's about how do I long for what is actually liberatory? Like, how do I shift the longing that I have for, like, I don't know, ice cream into like longing for like real freedom? Like, how do we shift that energy, right? It's like, how do you replace that, the object itself? How do you take the object out and replace it with something else, right? Because I think, of course, like longing, craving, attachment, like, of course, the Buddha taught that, you know. Um, like the craving, like we're attached, we're longing, we're holding on to things that we don't need to hold on to. But I think a misunderstanding in those, the early teachings, the Four Noble Truths, is that you have to long for something. You just need to long for what is going to get you free instead of longing for what's going to get you deeper and deeper into delusion, right? Like you have to long for freedom. You have to want something. Like what's the point of life if you don't want? This is the desire realm. Like the human realm is desire. We're here because there's desire, there's attachment, there's craving, there's longing. Great. If that energy is here, let's use that and redirect that longing, that craving to actually getting us free, to getting us clearer, right? Um, so the longing, right? And allowing the longing, the energy of longing to transform you. And this is very subtle, becoming the deity, as we often do in our practice, which is a big part of Vajrayana Buddhism, becoming the deity. We are the deity, right? Becoming is not this whole intense transformation. Like it's not like you're like Wonder Woman, and I'm not talking about the new movies. I'm talking about the show from the 80s, the 70s and the 80s, Linda Carter, where she would just spin around and like and she would just like illuminate and turn into Wonder Woman. Love that. Love that. Um It's not so dramatic like that, unfortunately, if only. That's a lot of effort, right? And we don't have to go through all of that transformation. To become the deity is a thought. And that thought is, I am. Like, I am Medicine Buddha. I am Tara, right? That 1 second thought will purify a whole bunch of karma very quickly, right? Because you're not identifying with a limited self, a limited ego. You're identifying for a second with something that's free, that's liberated, something that we already are, right? To say that you are Medicine Buddha or any Buddha means that for a moment you recognize that you are an expression of space, emptiness, energy, or luminosity. Is to remember that you arise somewhere beyond the tension of duality and confusion, you know? That 1 second of identification with the Buddha or as a Buddha is enough to just disrupt lifetimes of karma, right? And begins to plant the seeds and water the seeds also of your ultimate remembering. As one of my teachers would always say, you have to fake it till you make it. Now, there's a limitation to that teaching, obviously, but to skillfully use it, like, it's, yeah, you have to play into this a little bit in order to start awakening, these memories, right? These experiences of what you actually are, right? And it feels very disconnected at the beginning. Absolutely. When I first started these practices, it was like, what am I doing? Like this is like it's boring, it seems pointless, you know? But the more I did it, the more I took it seriously, the more I began to relate to these really transformative qualities instead of the limitations, right? This has been the case for all the Buddhas that I've practiced with, including and especially Chinrezig, right? To really awaken to this capacity to love, right? Which has felt like it's come through the back door, right? And this is what these practices feel like. It's coming through the back door. It's not coming straight for you because the ego can disrupt that, right? You can, like, the ego can get involved, right? But these practices are subtly coming in a direction that feels like we're not guarded, right? And this is why I tell you in your practice, like, you don't have to feel anything, you don't have to see anything, you don't have to have these transformative experiences like other people do. That's fine. Like, you don't have to experience that because it is working, but it's coming through an avenue that where your senses and your ego isn't guarding, right? And over time, it sneaks up on you. It's like the rebels, like in Star Wars, who are, always destroying the Death Star. I mean, there's always a Death Star in Star Wars. I mean, I don't know where they get all this material from to build planets. But, and every movie is like, oh, there's another Death Star. We have to, like, organize. Right? Um, but it's like, yeah, you have to sneak in. The practice just sneaks into the armament of our ego and just like, it streams in and gets to the core. And then all of a sudden you feel a change. You're a very small change, but a very small change is significant, right? A little bit of like a shove, a little bit of a disruption begins to free you, begins to awaken the space that we need to start taking this work seriously. Right? Yeah. So let's get started. It's going to be a very subtle practice as well. Um, and so just start by letting your bodies find some ease, some comfort, right? And of course, we're going to enter into the space where we're going to kind of let go as much as we can of so much of the anxiety, the fear, the anger, the disbelief that so many of us are experiencing. We start by remembering our intention for practice, which is to practice on behalf of all beings, so that as we get free, we help others to get free. Right? Or in the words of Shantideva, we become the medicine, right? We become the doctor and the medicine and the nurse. We become the bridge, the protectors, right? We become what beings need. And don't think about how to do that, right? Don't think, oh, how am I going to turn myself into a bridge? That's not where we're at. We're just practicing right now. You don't have to take that so literally either. But to become an agent of healing, for people by first becoming what we need for ourselves. This is why we're practicing. Always link that together. You're not just trying to get happy and free, you're doing this on behalf of everyone else. When you don't have that altruistic, that collective attitude, then the practice becomes quite selfish and dangerous, and it doesn't get you anywhere. Because that's another way the ego comes in and co-opts everything and continues to center itself. So in this practice, may I become what others need. That decenters the ego, not push it completely out of the picture, but decenters the ego, opens up the space for everyone else and everything to be there with you in relationship with you, right? We're getting free together. That is the energy of the Mahayana vehicle, which Vajrayana is a part of. We are getting free. So when you're ready, shifting your attention to the seat, the weight of your body, the seat rising to hold you. And let the seat be an anchor. And when you feel anchored, we shift our attention even lower and we touch into the earth, the land, awakening the earth as the mother, holding us, sustaining us, tethering us. And it's not just the earth, the land itself, but it's our plant allies as well, our animal allies that are connected to the land. Animal allyship, plant allyship, these are very powerful medicines that are also being sustained by the earth. And we are of the land. We are of the earth. That kind of remembrance is powerful medicine. I am not separate. I am a part of, I belong to the land. And what would it feel like to imagine the consciousness, the energy of the earth slowly rising up through your body? What does that feel like? This energy of holding, stability, groundedness. And this is a practice that I encourage you to do every day. Just sitting, connecting to the earth, be it indoors, outside of the land, wherever feels accessible, and allowing the earth to just kind of like fill you up, move through you. You can do this with the waters. You can do this with fire, do this with air. But foundationally, the first element we work with is the earth. The earth is the foundation that allows the other energies of the elements to move through us. And you can even say to yourself, I am the land, I am the earth. And this kind of practice can bring us into the truth of things, into what's actually happening, not just our narratives, our fantasies, but what's happening now. And so when you're ready, I invite you to bring some attention up to your heart center. You can even bring your hand, a palm up to the heart center as well to kind of connect to that feeling, that experience of being held. And we return back to this experience of longing. And we can begin by just noticing some of the more mundane things that we long for, like super mundane, like things that we don't need, you know. So just noticing that, first of all, so tuning into that longing. And let's begin to shift, right? So let's feel connected, stay connected to this feeling of longing, the energy of longing. And now let's call into our minds this object of freedom or healing. So we begin to long for freedom. And we're not thinking about what that means right now, but we're just longing to be free, longing to be healed, the longing to be free from suffering. And we start letting this longing for freedom and healing, let it start guiding you, taking you somewhere. And as we do so, we turn our attention to our first mantra, Om Minla Sangye Kino Soha. Medicine Buddha, please think of me, remember me, be with me, which we'll chant 3 times. We'll begin with Om, and then we'll end with Om. But as we start this opening chant, allowing this mantra to begin to awaken something for you. I'm not going to tell you what that is, but just allow it to awaken something and trust it. So we begin. Om. Om la sange hino no soa. Om Razange no soa. Om. And returning your attention back to your heart center, imagining your heart center begins to radiate, to illuminate. And this radiance, this white, shimmering, soft light, and this light begins to radiate throughout your whole body. And just like that, we begin to awaken as the healer, as Medicine Buddha, or as an expression of Medicine Buddha. Again, this is not about seeing anything, imagining anything in particular, just this thought that now I am an expression of Medicine Buddha, the great healer. Allowing this longing for freedom to really energize this transformation, to energize this thought, really, that I am the healer. And resting within this first stage of practice, then we turn our attention to Medicine Buddha's main mantra. Teata om begenze maha begenze rasa sumungate soha, like this. I pray for the end of pain and suffering and the root of pain and suffering. And I release the energy of this prayer out to all the world so that we all may be liberated. And may it be so. So just resting, just being, allowing yourself to masquerade as the healer. We begin our chanting. O te anda begenze ma begenze razasumungate soa. Te anda begenze ma begenze razasumungate soa. Te anda begenze ma begenze razasumungate soa. Te Just turning my attention to our prayer requests. And again, we call into the space all of our sources of refuge, all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Yidams, Dharma protectors, all beings of light, all the deities and spirits of all the elements, all the angels, and so forth and so on. We call you into the space so that we may offer these prayers to you, that as we offer these prayers, we pray that you work on our behalf to bring about the fruition of these prayers and also show us how to be agents of change and transformation, to also do what we can to bring about the fruition of these prayers as well. We begin by offering prayers that all beings are cared for and experience safety, dignity, and belonging. Prayers that I get a good job and I can have Tuesdays off for school. Prayers for all of my beloveds, especially my daughter. May she be independent and part of an interconnected family community that is caring and resourced as she grows in life. Prayers for Daniel as he awaits his rescheduled surgery, and for Elle as she supports him through this. Prayers for Theus, who passed away suddenly this weekend. May she and her family find peace during her passage. Prayers for all of us doing the work of getting free and rebalancing the earth. Prayers for all of those with disabilities and chronic pain. May they find peace and ease. Prayers for calmness and healing of my mind and body. Prayers for the targets of the fascist state and those who can stand up to it. Prayers that I have the strength and courage to continue with my job, career, and gender transitions. Also prayers that my housemate can overcome their birth traumas and drinking problem, and may they have the strength and courage to continue with practicing the Dharma. Prayers that I receive with ease, strength, and grace as I start a new school semester. Prayers that we continue to grow in love and compassion on this journey of healing and overstanding. Prayers of gratitude for my mother's housing stability, continued prayers for her health and healing, prayers for to experience healing and stability, prayers for R's upcoming healing, may he receive freedom and justice, prayers for Audra as she navigates her cancer, prayers for a release of her pain and holding, prayers for the world and those who are suffering, prayers for our Mother Earth and Father Sky, prayers for forgiveness and healing, for connection, prayers for me as I try to forgive myself and for the many choices that I now feel regret around. Prayers for Z to be safe and aware of her own strength and wisdom. Prayers for me as I transition out of a toxic work environment and learn to take up space and know my worthiness. Prayers for my sister, her wife, and my nibblies that they are all working through healing trauma. Prayers for A to find his way forward. Prayers for N and our prayers for N and R, Lama Rod, and the blessed community to be well and free. Prayers for all beings in all realms and timelines to be free ASAP. Prayers of gratitude to the elements and enlightened ones that sustain me. Prayers for me to be healthy and free of this cold, for me to let go of what I was to be and who I am becoming, for me to be, and for me not to be distracted. Asheo. Prayers for Marie and Cher, who are confronting serious health concerns. Prayers for P, who is struggling with gambling addiction. Prayers for all communities, all sentient beings in the land impacted by wildfires. Prayers for the Palestinians, prayers for those who turn their back to genocide, prayers for the hungry in Gaza, prayers for the children whose memory of childhood are bloodshed, prayers for those who sleep afraid under drones, and for those whose eyes can't shut, waiting for their last breath. Prayers for feet to keep going, for truth to emerge, and hearts to keep believing and healing after genocide despite the darkness of now. Prayers of love to Mother Earth, who witnesses and guides us through so much suffering and ignorance. Prayers of gratitude for all my guides. Thank you for supporting my creative work, protecting me, and helping me to get free. May you have everything you need and know how loved you are. Prayers that I get beyond anger and blame and find the courage and resources to let go and leave my relationship. May I find the emotional, spiritual, and financial support I need to support my well-being. Please guide me and help me to be open to receive. Prayers for the martyred journalists in Palestine who stayed until the end despite the personal risk, and may they be received with love. Prayers for all teachers, especially those starting a new school year, depleted. Prayers that I may maintain firm boundaries in a toxic work environment. Prayers for myself as I continue recovering from COVID, that I may continue to heal and feel motivated and supported in my efforts to show up for myself and community. And additional prayers for both myself and E following our painful relationship rupture. May we both connect to what we need to be well and whole, each within ourselves. Prayers for the United States as it navigates authoritarianism and fascism. Allow all in the country to awaken to their power against the oppressive regime. Prayers for myself as I continue to heal in my spine. Prayers that I find my people aligned through heart and values, find romantic love that share my spirituality and values. Prayers also that I find new work, asking Medicine Buddha for their guidance and clarity in the path of love, work, family, and spirit. Prayers for myself as I continue to navigate living with advanced cancer and currently undergoing treatment. May all the various practices, treatments, and supports be of maximum healing. Prayers for all people and beings living with illness and or chronic pain. Prayers for everyone who is suffering from oppressive policies directly and vicariously. May there be active, effective solidarity and resilience to continue the work. Prayer for guidance without moving, not moving. Prayers for world without war. Prayers for my family who is once again grieving the loss of an elder. Prayers for Luke, the dog next door. He's not been feeling well the last few days with an upset tummy. Please bless the plain boiled chicken and broth to help regain his strength. Ashe. Prayers to get the resources I need and a path forward to feel the pain, to heal the pain and fatigue in my body so that I can continue to practice for the benefit of liberation of all beings. Prayers for mutual aid, collective we are building. Prayers for Andrew and Becca for them to regain health, quality of life, auspicious conditions, and the ability to live towards their purpose more fully. Prayers for the long lives of our teachers, including Lama Rod, Rachel Eli, and our wisdom keepers. Prayers of protection for all people targeted by fascism and hegemony. Prayers that hegemonic actors wake up to their ignorance, hate, and greed, and the interconnectedness of all beings. Prayers for the protection, abundance, nourishment, and auspicious conditions for our Sangha. Medicine Buddha, please help heal the hate, greed, and ignorance of humans so that we can heal the earth and one another and make this a pure land. Prayers for my friend Ricky Joyner and his wife Diane. Prayers for my friend M, whose husband's brother is dying. They're going to be with him and his family. Prayers that some healing can happen, especially for the brother who has been difficult for his family, that they can bring something new that opens up space for healing. Prayers for my friend Lexi and her 16-year-old daughter who is undergoing chemo for her Hodgkin's lymphoma. Prayers for Chava as well. Prayers for my children and their children. Prayers for myself to feel deeply connected to my benefactors. Help me know I'm being helped, that I will find ways every day to help others. Teach me how to pray. Prayers for my broken heart, for Blakely, and for my mom Shannon. Prayers to discover ways to bring more sensation into nerves in my feet and to learn to truly be at peace in this one precious body regardless. Prayers for discernment about actions to take daily to heal myself and others, to use my resources wisely towards that healing. Prayers for my mom, for only love and tenderness to surround her. Prayers for my very fucked up family of origin to have what they need to stop and to soften. Prayers for my health, that I find my missing package. Prayers for Tiffany and the girls. Prayers for Miss Mary that entered the bardo. Prayers for continued awakening, healing, and prayers of exponential gratitude to my benefactors and living human supports providing loving care. Prayers for all beings who are suffering because of war, systems of oppression, abuse of power. May their hunger and needs be met with love and care. Prayers for all the trees, plants, and animals. Prayers for Chera, prayers for Marina, prayers for all who are experiencing violence. May all beings find liberation. Prayers for all of my family members who are sick, and for me, that I be relieved of my extreme anxiety. Prayers for my son who is having a hard time finding a job that doesn't feed directly into the war machine. May he find the clarity and courage to resist. Prayers for all men and boys who need to cultivate their divine selves and claim their softness and femininity. Prayers for my father Charles, who is recovering from chemotherapy for return of pancreatic cancer and who fell last week at 6 p.m. today. Prayers for my mother, who is taking care of him for the last 3 years. Prayers for my healing, that I may be connected to and guided by my own heart. Prayers for Nako Avatar as he transitions to the spirit world. Prayers for His Holiness and Tibet as they are supposed, or as they are so oppressed by the Chinese, especially the almost 100,000 children in boarding schools not allowed to speak their own language. I continue to offer prayers for our elder, Dr. Larry Ward, who transitioned last week back into the bardo. May he be met by all the Buddhas, all the ancestors, and may he return to us whenever it is time for him to continue teaching the profound Dharma. To continue to offer prayers for Leah and for Sana as they prepare for journeys into difficult places to be of help. May they be guided, may they be protected. I continue to pray for the complete liberation of all beings in this world system, for the complete abolition of all systems of harm and domination and violence. May we all remember as quickly as possible our most awakened selves. May we remember that we are the Buddhas, and that we take that seriously. May this world be elevated and lifted from this chaos, this tension, and this confusion. And may we all get free as quickly as possible together. May this be so as quickly as possible. Ashe. And just returning back to our mantra practice. And for the last few minutes of our mantra, as we return back to our arising as the healer, as an expression of Medicine Buddha, I invite you to imagine that in the space in front of you, you begin to just see yourself, right? To see your ordinary, normal self as you arise daily. And as Medicine Buddha, as this expression of Medicine Buddha, I invite you just to gaze really lovingly, really intimately into yourself as you are arising in front of yourself. And as you gaze with this deep kindness, this deep care, imagining that this gaze is the transference of healing from yourself as Medicine Buddha into your ordinary self. And working with that as we continue just for a few more minutes into the mantra. O te anta begenze maha begenze razumunga te soha. Te anta begenze maha begenze razumunga te soha. Te anta Om Mabe unze razu sumunga te soa. Deyada umbe unze be unze. Mabe unze razu sumunga te soa. Deyada umbe unze be unze. Mabe unze razu sumunga te soa. Deyada umbe unze begunze ma begunze razu sumunga tesoa. So we slowly begin to imagine that our cells, our ordinary cells in front of us, begins to dissolve into white light, and that white light is absorbed into our heart centers as the great healer. And we, ourselves as Medicine Buddha, we begin to dissolve into white light. And as we dissolve into this white light, we imagine that this white light is released to spread all through this world, blessing this world system with healing and love and care and safety. And as this blessing, this light is released, our awareness is freed. And we find ourselves just resting in awareness within space and emptiness itself, free from concepts, grabbing on, attachment, everything. Just resting and free and open. And so when you're ready, allowing your body to come back into focus, feeling the weight of your body first, the density of your body, feeling the seat rising to hold you, connecting to the earth, allowing the earth to tether you, to bring you back down into this sense of stability and groundedness. And when you're ready, Begin to reawaken your bodies through simple movement, slow movement, as you're slowly coming back into this timeline. Right, and we turn our attention to Santa Deva's prayer, which you'll find in the chat box. And we'll recite this 3 times. Right. We'll begin. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. And finally, may I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. Okay. Great. Thank you all so much for your practice. And may you be protected and held by all the Buddhas, right? And all the protecting spirits until we meet again. Right.